Overview lang naman ginagawa natin na review. I trust you na you listen to your classmates when they report. And I trust you also that you read the report of others, okay? Because it's your responsibility now, ha? The online class, sabi nila, it would be your responsibility to look for the answers of your questions and for you to understand the questions that you have. And then we will just facilitate it in this kind of setup or setting. So, lung cancer, na-discuss naman kung ano ang lung cancer, okay? So, usually, pag sinabi natin lung cancer, madalas ito ay a carcinoma type of cancer. Pag sinabi natin carcinoma type, okay, these are the cancers that arises from your skin or squamous cell. Okay? So, kaya siya carcinoma. So, we all know for a fact na yung squamous cell ay evident or madami sa mga mucus, tawag ito, mucus-rich na parts. And your lung is mucus-rich. Diba? May mga goblet cells nga siya, diba? May mucus secretions cells siya. So, they are rich in squamous cells. So, mas madalas carcinoma siya. So, na-mention nila yung small cell carcinoma, non-small cell carcinoma, and then, of course, your squamous cell carcinoma, adenocarcinoma, large cell carcinoma. So, you all know that. Diniscuss naman na nila yan. Okay? Pag adenocarcinoma, pag may term na adeno, usually it is malignant. Ibig sabihin, it travels na. It's nagme-metastasize. Okay? Yung may good, is good prognosis na lung cancer is what? Sinabi natin to last time.
Non-small cell.
Non-small ba?
Ay. Wait.
Non-small ba? Yes, it's non-small.
Sabi niyo, sir.
Kaya nga, tinitest ko lang naman. Bakit nag-dalawang agad? Okay? It's non-small. The reason why non-small?
Kasi, parang kapag non-small, ibig sabihin, parang hindi siya ganun kaliitan o kaya naman malaki. So, hindi siya, parang yung possibility na mag-metastasize is low po.
Yes, it's not traveling kasi. Okay? So that's the reason why it has a greater prognosis kasi naka-isolate lang siya. Kapag naka-isolate lang siya, it's easy for you na kapag nagti-treatment, yun lang ang gagalawin natin. So, walang iba tayong parte yung gagalawin. Okay? Anemia. So, we all know for a fact that anemia means this is the decrease in number of your red blood cells. At kapag nagkaroon ng decrease in red blood cells, evidence anemia is decreased hemoglobin count. Or, later on, decreased hematocrit count. Okay? Ano ang hematocrit? What's the difference between hemoglobin and hematocrit? Anyone? Anyone?
Try lang, sir. Tingnan ko
Sige.
lang. Ang pagkakaintindi ko po sa hematocrit, yung po yung volume ng blood. And yung hemoglobin po ba yung isa? Yung hemoglobin naman po, yun po yung nasa may RBC po natin. Kasi nga, nakabound yung iron dun sa one heme. Yung heme naman, yun yung hemoglobin. So, yun yung nagkikarry ng oxygen.
Okay. So, tama. Medyo linawin lang natin. Pag sinabi natin hemoglobin, okay, ito yung red blood cell, okay, that carries oxygen. Okay? Kasi ang hemoglobin, this is the RBC that has heme or iron, which is responsible in holding the oxygen. Okay? Pag sinabi naman natin hematocrit, ito yung total amount ng red blood cells sa isang blood volume or sa blood cell count. Okay? So like for example, you have 1,000 masyado mo madami. 100 ml of blood. Okay? Yung dami ng red blood cells, yung kabuuan ng dami ng red blood cells na yun yung hematocrit. Okay? And out of the hematocrit, ilan doon, or out of the total number of red blood cells, ilan doon ang hemoglobin? Or oxygen carrying red blood cells. Nakuha niyo ako? Lahat ng hematocrit, okay? Lahat ng hemoglobin, hematocrit. Okay? Pero hindi lahat ng hematocrit, hemoglobin. Nakuha niyo ako doon? Uy. Lahat ng bilang ng hematocrit, yun yung bilang ng red blood cells. Okay? Pero doon sa bilang ng hematocrit na red blood cells, ilan lang doon ang hemoglobin? Ilan lang doon ang oxygen carrying capable na red blood cells. Okay? So that's the difference between the two. Na pag nalilipa ko sila minsan kung ano hematocrit at ano ang hemoglobin. Pag sinabi natin hematocrit, it is the ratio of red blood cells with the plasma. Okay? The total red blood cells. Pag sinabi natin hemoglobin, it is the total count of red blood cells in the hematocrit that is capable of carrying oxygen. Okay? Okay, so we all know pag anemia, alam na natin yon. Hypertension, there are two types. Sinabi na natin that we have the primary or essential hypertension, and then the secondary. Usually, yung primary, these are caused of certain exercises. Like for example, if you have if you went on stress, if you had massive, if you had exercise, then chances are magkakaroon ka ng essential hypertension. Okay? Wala siya talagang common na medical secondary cause. Okay? Pag may medical secondary cause or comorbidity, or may iba siyang pinagmulan, this is secondary hypertension. Secondary because basically, hindi naman talaga ito yung primary problem mo. Okay? So like for example, you have diabetes. Your primary problem is diabetes. And hypertension is a secondary result of your diabetes. Therefore, it's a secondary hypertension. Okay? So we can further also discuss the definition of your hypertension by classification ng BP. So we all know for a fact that the normal is less than systolic of less than 120 and diastolic less than 80. Pre-hypertensive ang 120. Kaya pag meron kayong maintain na 120 over 80, 120 over 80, it does not mean that it's normal. It's actually pre-hypertensive na. Okay? Stage 1 hypertension, ito yung mga may 140 to 159 and then 90 over 100 na diastolic. Yung stage 2, ito yung mga grabe. Ito yung mga greater than 160 ang systolic and then greater ng 100 ang diastolic. Okay? So na-discuss naman ni Miss Marasigan yung mga different medications used for this. So always remember that when you are treating hypertension, you always note lung as affectation ng side effects at cardiovascular as affectation of side effects. Okay? And then, kanina napaliwanag naman na nila yung core pulmonale. So, core is your heart, pulmonale is your lungs. Okay? So, what happens there is that you have a problem in your lung. Okay? It technically originates in the lung. Okay? And the problem in your lung affects your heart. So, we all know for a fact that what greatly bridges the heart and the lung is your right ventricle. Okay? Kasi andun yung malakas na pressure na magsisend ng blood towards the lung. The lung does not has much pressure to deliver blood to the heart. Diba? Remember that. Kasi ang talagang may pumping mechanism as yung heart. Okay? So the greater bridge ng lung and that of the heart is through the pulmonary arteries. Okay? Tama ba? Pulmonary artery. Pulmonary sa medullary valve and connected to your right ventricle. So, kapag meron ka pulmonary problem, expect, if you have pulmonary hypertension, expect that your right ventricle is affected. Lagi yung tatandaan niya. If you have pulmonary hypertension, lagi may affectation yan sa iyong right ventricle. So wala ako dapat maririnig na left ventricle problem. Right ventricle. Kapag pulmonary, it's right ventricle problem always. Okay? Or madalas. Acute coronary syndrome and myocardial infarction. Acute coronary syndrome or ACS may lead to coronary artery disease. What's the difference between the two? Okay? Acute coronary syndrome, okay, ang problema lang natin dito is yung coronary arteries ninyo. Okay? Where the oxygenated blood passes through. Okay? The coronary artery disease, okay, it involves the nearby part na pinagdideliveran ng oxygen within the pericardial aspect or the pericardial within the cardiac aspect. So nagko-cause siya ng myocardial infarction kasi nga may least supply ng oxygen. Okay? So ang milder version is acute coronary syndrome. The worst case is chronic coronary artery disease. And both later on may result of coronary heart failure. Kasi ang coronary, pag binanggit mo coronary, okay, di ba meron tayong systemic circulation? Yung coronary naman, we have coronary circulation wherein yung coronary pathways na yon, yun yung nagde-deliver ng oxygen to your heart. Okay? Now, if you have a problem, okay, you have a problem with your coronary pathway, then you have a poor supply of oxygenated blood towards your heart itself. Okay? Kasi remember, your heart is made up of tissue, muscle tissue is made up of cell, and your cell needs also oxygen. So, yung delivery ng oxygen to your heart through your coronary pathway, may problem. So, kapag nagkaroon ng problem, then walang masyadong supply o kurang supply ng oxygen to your coronary pathway, then hindi magpo-function ng heart na maganda. Pag hindi nag-function yung heart ng maganda, and then it would be a multi-organ or multifactorial problem. Okay? So, nagsisimula siya as acute coronary syndrome, wherein ang problem lang natin is your coronary pathway, yung coronary blood vessels, okay? Na pwedeng magkaroon ng atherosclerosis. Yung atherosclerosis, this is the building of plaques or ng bara, okay? Atherosclerosis, how it is different from arteriosclerosis. Arteriosclerosis is the general term, okay? Atherosclerosis is the specific wherein the athero is built up of cholesterol. Okay? Kaya siya athero. Okay? Which, because of the build-up, because of the pagbabara, there is bad flow of oxygenated blood or poor flow of oxygenated blood to your cardiac cells. Okay? To your heart. Kapag nagkaroon ng continuous altered or continuous blockage ng oxygen supply to your heart, what happens to this will progress to coronary artery disease. Nagkakaroon na ng problem ang coronary mo, hindi na siya nasusuplayan ng oxygen, and then the nearby cells of it is being affected kasi hindi na nakaka-receive ng oxygen. And that may lead now to your myocardial infarction progression. Okay? And later on, dahil hindi na ganun ka nakaka-receive ng oxygen ang iyong cardiac cells, hindi na magpa-function ng iyong heart. Kapag hindi na nag-function, that may lead to coronary heart failure or congestive heart failure later on. Okay? So that's for your report from groups 1 to 3. Do you have any other questions? Questions? Okay, so you don't have questions. Yung binanggit ko sa inyo kanina, you have academic freedom this 30 and 31, okay? But I may meet you by 30 or 31 if you wish to. Okay? Kasi nga, tawag dito, non-negotiable by next week, I cannot really meet you. Probably starting 3, 4, 5, and 6. But I will try to meet you by 3 if that's possible pa. But definitely the 4, 5, and 6, that's sure I cannot meet you. So the option is that we can meet hopefully Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week para ma-compensate yung kulang na oras next week. Or when I come back by the following week, mag-i-adjust tayo ng at least 30 minutes or 1 hour in every meetings natin para ma-compensate kung hindi talaga kakayanin. Pero kung kakayanin naman, hindi na natin kailangan mag-compensate. So, I will let Miss Pere advise me of your decision, okay? Hopefully today or tonight para alam ko na yung decision. Miss Pere is your president, di ba? Opo, sir. Okay.
Opo, sir.
Umiyak pa ako doon. So, Miss Pere will communicate with me na lang. Okay? Do you have questions?
Sir, may tanong po
Yes.
ako. Yung topic po ba na binigay niyo sa amin hanggang letter H, hanggang finals na po ba yun? O,
Yes. Hanggang finals na yun.
Okay po.
Research tayo bukas. Yes, it's research tomorrow. I met Migs kanina. Okay? Pinakita niya sa akin yung kanyang chapter 1. Tomorrow, ganun din ang gawin natin. Group 1, succeeding. Okay? Tapos yung group 1 So group 2, succeeding. Bukas you show me your chapter 1 and then sabay-sabay natin tignan yung mga dapat natin i-correct. So, para maging fair naman sa inyo, ngayon, bukas kung group 2, i-send nyo, sasabihin ko naman, okay, group 2, present your work. Pag sinabi kong present your work, send nyo agad sa messenger. Okay? Pag send nyo sa messenger, ida-download ko yun. Ako ang mag-navigate. I will read it. Okay? And then I will discuss my comment. I will put my comment. After that, send back to you. Group 3, kayo na next. Group 3, send agad sa messenger, ida-download ko, and then I will navigate. And I'll do the same thing to the rest of the groups. Okay? And for the rest of the groups also, Mix consulted already Dean Dakis. You consult Dean Dakis also, ha? Kasi, whatever comment Dean Dakis may be inputting to your paper, that's good already. Kasi, kung ma-identify niyo na yung gusto ni Dean, yung panlasa ni Dean sa research ninyo, and then, during the defense, medyo chiclet na lang. Kasi, wala na masyadong edit sa inyo si Dean. Wag lang hindi nyo in-edit yung kanyang suggestions. Okay? So, what you can do is that, consult Dean. So, bukas, pwedeng unahin natin yung mga na-consult na kay Dean, and then yun ang tignan natin. Okay? Oh.
Okay po, sir.
So, do you have any other questions? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So, if you don't have any questions now, try to revisit your research naman. Okay? Rest muna kayo sa MS. Okay? Try to revisit your research tonight. For those who have already works checked by Dean Dakis, okay? Kayo yung unahin natin bukas. Okay? So, ang isasubmit nyo bukas yung may comment ni Dean. Okay? Para, tayo, coherent, consistent. Okay? So, if you don't have any questions, thank you for your time. Thank you for tonight. Okay? See you tomorrow. Bye!
See you. Thank you po.
Thank you so much. Bye. Hope you learned something. Thank you.